All right, good to be with you guys again. I want to follow up on last week. We were talking about enduring authentic happiness. Enduring authentic happiness. I got a message that distracted me. That's why I paused. And it was from a book that I read, and it just captures some things and helps me say some things that I want us to look at and work on. And part of what I was after last week is kind of highlighting why do I do this? Why do we do this week after week? Because here's the deal, man. Life's short. You get one of them. You don't get any more. And I want to live to the fullest. What do you mean? I want to live to the full. I want to enjoy life. I want to accomplish things. I want to live a life that matters, et cetera, et cetera. And I want that for you. I want to help, if you can forgive me for the arrogance of that statement. So I'm going to review real quick the results of this book's research. So Martin Seligman wrote the book, and they studied happiness. They studied what they call authentic happiness. And I believe for us, we could insert the word joy, because what they meant was not your surface moments, where you laugh at a joke kind of happiness, but they meant authentic. And then they even added the word enduring authentic happiness. Enduring. In other words, states of well-being, joy, peace, etc., that last. They don't just go and then back down. They last. Now, let's get it out of the way. You're going to have spikes both up and down, but what we want to talk about is how can I maintain a fairly consistent range where that I like, by the way, that I'm okay with. So they studied it, and here's what they found. They found three factors. They boiled it down to all the different factors you could think of that would affect your enduring authentic happiness, and they boiled it down to three factors. 1, 2, 3, and they gave percentages to each. Factor one was what they called your happiness thermostat. And when they say happiness, they mean your emotional range thermostat. In other words, from your family, in your family, you both inherited and learned. Inherited and learned. If I were speaking to you live, I'd say this. Say this after me. Inherited and learned. In other words, you physiologically inherited things, and then you also learn things. And what it creates is a range, really important word, a range for emotions, a range for joy, exuberance, risk-taking, fear, intimacy. Some of those aren't exactly emotions, but you understand what I mean. You inherit from your family a range. Some people that are just all the time. And some people, they're flat, and you get very little, I wonder what's going on there. Well, a lot of that is inherited and learned thermostat settings. Now, guess what they found your thermostat setting? How much effect did your thermostat setting have? Well, they came up with 50%, 50. In other words, half. Now, good news, bad news. Well, here's what I think. I think whatever your range is, it is. In other words, I'm just going to believe God to change it. Well, have at it. But, come back when you're tired. But what I do think you can do is you can learn things that help you live at the top of your range. And the reason I stress that and get a little sarcastic there, come back when you're tired, is I think we spend a lot of time and energy trying to become something that it's going to be really hard for us to become. And there's some things in life, I've got to embrace them, and I've got to figure out how to work with them. And the way we were made genetically from the two people that created us, and the things that we learned, the experiences we had in our early childhood, have laid a foundation for kind of the person that we've become. And some of it, not all of it, but some of it is pretty tricky to change. All right, so first one, happiness thermostat. Second one they studied or discovered is life circumstances. Now, most people, if you ask them straight up, they'll tell you, life circumstances are the key to everything. Well, they're not. They studied, people that win the lottery. They studied people that suffer severe loss. In other words, they studied high highs and low lows. And what they found was that after a reasonable period of time, could be 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever. After a reasonable period of time, both groups were kind of back in their range. In other words, what they found was that life circumstances can bump you up or down, but eventually you're going to land back in the range that your thermostat kind of puts you in. So, happiness thermostat 50%. Guess what life circumstances? 10%, peeps. 10% of your enduring authentic happiness or your enduring authentic emotional states, the feelings that you feel on a daily basis, 50% are inherited, learned early in life. 10% are based on the circumstances of your life. You know what? You could almost say that's why I do this right here. Why I do this is to help jar you, shake you. If you're in front of me, I'd slap you a few times. Not really. But what I want to say to you is your life circumstances, yes, they affect you. And short term, they can affect you a lot. But the long-term enduring effect of your life circumstances is dependent on how you process them, handle them. And that's going on up here and in here, head and heart. And you can even learn to affect on a day-to-day basis how the little ripples of life affect you. So 50% happiness thermostat, 10% life circumstances. If you're a good math person, that's 60%. What does that leave? 40? Guess what they found? Remember I told you 3. Guess what they found the last one was? Things, and again, that sounds vague, things that are under your control that you can learn to change. So happiness thermostat, I can work to stay in that top range. Life circumstances, I can't change some circumstances, but I can change how they affect me. And then the third thing is, wait a minute, man, things under my control. You know what's the biggest one? And it's what we kicked off with last week. Like I told you, we're calling this season 3. But as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. As a woman thinks in her heart, so is she. How we think, what we think. How we think means the mechanics of how many of you know you can be a sloppy thinker or you can be a skilled thinker. You can be kind of an accidental, reactive thinker, or you can be an intentional, responsive thinker. Y'all know there's a difference between reacting and responding, right? So what are we going to be looking at here? We're going to be looking at how to work with that 40%. Here's the deal, guys. If I told you that there's 60% of the way you're created that we're going to maximize the best we can, but we can't directly change it. But there's 40% of your joy, 40% of your peace, 40% of your ability to absorb the shocks of life that we can, pure tea, maximize. I hope you'd be interested. And that's what we're all about. We're all about, as you think, so you are, and the intricacies of that. So what we're going to talk as we go forward, probably what we're going to get into next week is something that I felt like the Lord challenged me with recently, and that was this thought. If God gave you 3 wishes, for this year, what would you ask for? If God gave you 3 wishes this year, what would you ask for? And what we're going to talk about is how that creates an important point of focus, if you will, in your heart and mind. All right? We're going to get into that later. And love you guys, and I hope you're getting something out of this, man. I'm so proud that you guys keep hanging around. I'm honored by just your hanging in there with me. All right? Share this stuff with your friends, and man, let's get inside each other's heads and make it better. Let's clean up each other's heads. How about that? All right? Later, man. Love you guys.